Hey there, we're Charlene, Chris and Holly, and we've been living and travelling full-time in our motorhome for over 2 years now. Last week we crossed over to France after an amazing few months touring all over the UK. Today's video marks the beginning of our adventure in Europe, but quickly turns into a nightmare.
Started making that buzzing sound again, so maybe the problem isn't fixed.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. Bonjour. We've had a lovely few days here and we haven't really made it too far from Calais, to be honest. We've just been staying around here, the north of France, and today we're actually heading to this place called Montreal-sur-Mer.
And we met another attendee.
Now,
Same model as ours.
this street is getting narrower and narrower.
Walking in this small town and it's lovely. There are so many flowers here and so many colors as well. The facades look beautiful. There are also some cobbled streets and it's not busy at all. I really love it here. You can truly tell that you're in France because of the cobbled street, and also the restaurants are filled with people having their lunch and their coffee. There are so many butterflies here as well. Look at that! How cute!
Now that we've been touring around the UK for the last few months, it does feel strange to be back. Apart from that, even driving on the right hand side again now has been a bit tricky. Like, I've got used to it in the busy roads, but when you're on a quiet road I find myself going to the left. But I'm sure that will fix itself in the next few days. So we're actually looking for this tower. We found it on Google Maps, but we can't really get to it, and this is why, because we kept missing this little road here, if you can even call it a road. It's actually such a nice day here today. When we arrived in France 2 days ago, it was very, very hot, about 30 degrees. But today it's gone down to the low 20s overnight, and there's a little breeze, which makes it really, really enjoyable just to sit out here in the sun. I do need to watch out though, because I don't want to get sunburned. We're actually only a few kilometers south of Calais, and the plan for this week really is just to spend a couple of days in this area here and then start heading south. You ready, madame?
Oui, oui. They smell really good.
As much as we miss the UK already, it's kind of nice to be somewhere new, and
it's so good to have a parking spot where you can actually go in town without any hassle.
Yeah, and leave the van without having to worry about it.
So good, right? It feels so good.
Different, that's for sure.
And it's free.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. So we've made it back to the air, and it's just like a 5-minute walk to where the old town starts, and then you've got like normal services here, electric, water just for €2, and the parking is actually free of charge. So as always, these airs come really in handy when you're traveling around France.
This supermarket is actually quite big. It's got everything from gardening, electronics, everything. It's so big, and I spent around €75 and it's going to last us around 3, maximum 4 days.
That doesn't sound good.
A bit expensive, huh? But what can you do?
Yeah, it was much cheaper in the UK.
I have no idea what we're gonna do in the future if these prices keep on increasing.
So just arrived at this parking place. Some of you might recognise it from a few months ago before we crossed over to UK. This is where we spent our final night, and we came here to kind of wash the van, because this place, apart from having a laundry, it also has a car wash and one of these like stair things where you can reach on top of the van. I don't think we're going to clean it today because the big stick thing that we normally use is in the back cupboard, and we still haven't fixed the hinge yet, so I don't really want to be in a position where I open up the back cupboard and can't close it again. So we'll leave that for now. And there's some spots like this where we kind of come to like after a few months or after a year, and it's really weird to see. Like when we came here, it was raining, chucking it down. So I think we're going to spend our final night in the north of France here, and then we'll start heading south tomorrow. The following morning, we planned to start the long drive south.
But things quickly changed when we started hearing a strange noise coming from the van.
Where do you think it's coming from?
From this thing.
This here.
This thing here is what we later found out is called a turbo boost solenoid. So we head over to the closest mechanic to check it out.
So we've replaced the solenoid. For some reason, now that he reconnected it, the turbo stopped working. So it's like the van had no power whatsoever. When we disconnected it, the van's driving fine. So I have no idea by replacing this what's happened, but we wanted to fix that small problem, which I thought was a quick replacement, and it's kind of caused this much bigger problem for us. We're currently driving with it disconnected and the van's driving fine at least, but as soon as you connect it again, it just loses all power. We're going to go and check out and see if we can get like a second opinion from this other guy, because these guys can't help us until next week. We don't really want to get stuck here. Wish me luck.
The guy at this garage told me that it's full up and doesn't have time to, so our only option was to head back and wait out the few days.
Morning folks, so we've made it to the garage. We're just waiting for him here to get started. To be honest, we really want to get it sorted out as quick as possible and as cheap as possible, because as you know, last winter we had a lot of issues with the van that we had to get fixed, quite expensive, so we don't really need something like this again now. To be honest, like I don't think it's anything major, because we were driving the van okay by avoiding going through the solenoid. And to be honest, last night I was doing some research and I also found that there's this pressure sensor which could be the problem. It's a bit difficult when I don't speak English, but I've just got my translate here ready, and if it is this, it's not too bad because it only costs like 10-15 euros. The problem is to kind of to get to it, I think, but fingers crossed that it is it, to be honest.
Another day in the garage, unfortunately, but what can you do? Full-time van life reality. The only problem that we have here is the language barrier. They don't understand a word in English, and we can't understand a word in French.
I'm staying in the van and doing some editing while we're waiting. We've got this like mirror thing in front of us so I can see him like working on the van. I have no idea what he's doing though. So far he's cleaned the EGR valve, and I think now he's just putting it back in again. He doesn't seem to think it has anything to do with the sensor that I mentioned, but apart from that, we don't really know what he's doing. So I think he's putting everything back together again, and we're going to test it out. So I don't know.
Meanwhile, I'm a bit hungry and I'm warming some Heinz baked beans from the UK.
We haven't got much food now, so we're kind of having to eat what we have.
Yes, and we really need to go and stock up a bit.
So we've made it back to the air. Basically the van is running properly again. We didn't have to change any parts. They cleaned up everything and the van seems to be running fine. We just went and done a test drive, 10 minutes on the main road, and everything seemed fine. In fact, it felt like we had a bit more power than normal. So I hope that was the problem. As I said, everything seems to be working now, and it cost us 130 euros, so it wasn't too expensive. Luckily we didn't need to change any parts, but so far it seems to have fixed the problem. So happy days.
Ay, it looks so good.
We've made it as far as Reims, which is like a large city here in France. The weather's a bit strange today. It's like grey skies, but then it's still hot, which is a pain. I think we covered quite a good bit of ground today. It's so good to actually drive on the French main roads. It's so easy, and the roads are actually in really, really good condition. Tolls are a bit expensive, but the roads are perfect, to be honest. I was actually considering avoiding the toll route and going through the villages, but it said it was going to take us like 1 to 2 hours longer. In the end, we just used the toll roads. So far we paid 15 euros on the first one, and I guess this second one is going to be something similar. drive today, the engine felt like it was skipping a beat. And just now, as I've turned off the engine, the solenoid started making that buzzing sound again. So maybe the problem isn't fixed. At the moment it's really difficult for us because we thought we had the problem fixed, and then when you drive for a few hours it's back again. Or it's a different problem really. I don't know if you can hear it, but it feels like it's skipping a beat. Turn it off. This has started buzzing again. It's really discouraging. And the problem is with something like this, there's just so many things that it can be. Something from a quick fix, you know, like a £10 job, to thousands. You don't even know really what to expect. 5 minutes away from here there is a mechanic opening up tomorrow morning around 8 AM, so we're gonna head there. I have work commitments next week, so we literally have to leave France the next 2 or 3 days, so I really hope he can sort us out and that it's nothing too expensive. To make things worse, Charlene's tooth is hurting her as well. She's actually asleep already. We stopped by a dentist on the way here as well, but they didn't speak English, and from what she managed to translate, they were busy. So really not the best of times. A really bad start to van life in Europe. Seems like we're cursed. And I don't want to ramble on. At least we've got a nice park up. The van is just over there. And some cockroaches.
It's not hurting me.
Go to the dentist tomorrow. Mechanic and dentist. Or dentist and mechanic. We'll see how you wake up.
Yeah, I'm not going to eat as well because I'm afraid that some food might get stuck in it.
The only one that's okay is this one here. He's having a good time. Looking out the window at the vineyards and just sleeping. Morning, we're up early. Very tired this morning, but we're going to try and get to the garage just now, like it's 5 to 8. We want to be there by the time he opens. Fingers crossed. I haven't even started up yet, to be honest. Let's see how it runs.
You know, yesterday I was a bit sad about the whole situation that we're in because this thing happened as soon as we entered France. But anyway, what can you do? This is our life and that's why we film everything. It's not everything nice, you know. These are some van life problems that you encounter when you live full-time on the road. So Chris is inside. They don't understand a word in English, unfortunately, and we don't understand French. Oh my goodness, this is a nightmare for us. I'm still going to look for a dentist here in this area. I think I need a filling, and yes, let's just hope I find one very easily and I just get it sorted as well. What did he say?
Yeah, he can't help us.
No?
Yeah. No, maybe it's better we go to a Fiat.
Okay, so we're going to a Fiat. Wish us luck. So we're at the Fiat garage and there is one person who can understand English. Thank God for that. Right now we have 2 persons checking everything. They've been on it for about 30 minutes already. And they also jacked us up. I think that's the word. And yeah, we're here, me and Holly, and Chris is outside with them. And let's hope we get this thing sorted.
Yeah, they didn't charge us any money, but they couldn't find what the problem is. And they've told us to go to an Iveco one now.
What? Seriously?
Yeah, these are the ones that are expensive.
The good thing about driving across France is that we can stop to different mechanics and dentists as well. First of all, we can't call them because they don't understand English and we don't understand French. Secondly is that they might not have an availability today, so we're going right on the spot and check if they can help us or not. That's how it is today, that's how it is. I found a dentist which is 7 minutes away. We're heading in this town, I have no idea what it's called. Chalon and Champagne. And there are many dentists there, so I'm going to visit one of them. Hopefully he can fit me in and do the filling for me. I just hope I don't have to pull it out.
Right, where do I begin? So we've just parked up by the side of the road here. Charlene's just gone in quickly to check about the dentist. They closed at midday, so I'm not sure if they're open again yet, but she's going to go and see if she can get an appointment. We've taken the van to so many garages, as you've seen, like normal mechanics, Fiat. We went to the Iveco place as well. So basically the guys at Fiat, they were really good. And by the way, we haven't paid anything. No one charged us anything, at least. So Fiat guys were really good. They checked on the van and they were checking everything, bless them. They said that everything looks okay. After that, they recommended then that we go to the Iveco place because they deal with Fiat Ducatos. And we went there, and during that drive, it just stopped making the noise completely. I don't know, like initially the first mechanic we went to, wait, how many mechanics have we been to? I think we've been to about 4 places so far. First guy, or the second guy, I forgot now, put this kind of small filter on it, on the bottom of the solenoid, which is to replace the kind of part which was damaged, and the original mechanic back in Calais, or well, close to Calais, to replace what he did, really. And that seems to have resolved the solenoid problem, because as soon as I switch off, it just goes bzzz and off as it should. So that seems to have fixed it. We're not going to change that part if we don't need to, so we'll leave that as it is. With the idle engine problem, since we left Fiat to drive to Iveco, it seemed to have disappeared. It's come back a bit now, but when we arrived there, the guy said the engine's running perfectly. I tried switching it off and on again, but it was just working perfectly. At the time, I was kind of happy that it was working, but at the same time, I wanted it to kind of do it again so that he can understand what I'm trying to tell him. But I don't know, like, no one could really help us and explain what the situation is, but all I can tell you is that it seems to be working now and it's not too bad. So I think we're just going to leave everything as it is. Bonjour, madame.
Bonjour. We have to go to the hospital.
Ninu. Should we call the ambulance? Why you have to go to the hospital? What do they say?
They don't have. They're all full. So we're back on our phones, this time to find the closest hospital.
Southwest on Rouge de Beau.
We're parked just outside the hospital and the noise is back. Oh my god.
Noise is back.
This is hilarious. Oh, seriously.
So the dentist that Charlene went to check out were not able to help. They actually sent her to another one and they weren't able to help either. So they said you have to go to one of the free hospital emergency rooms where they deal with dental issues as well. So we've actually driven to Nantes. We're about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from where we were earlier. And we just parked up here in the middle of the city, not right in the city centre. Luckily, this hospital is just a few streets away. So I was able to find like this big parking space in front of some garages, which I don't think are being used at the moment. Anyway, I'm waiting outside. Charlene's been in there for an hour, so I guess they're sorting her out. I don't know if they're pulling it out or whether she's getting her fill-in. I guess we'll see in a minute. But yeah, it's been a horrible day today, horrible day. Hopefully she'll be all right and we can go and find a park up and wind down for the day.
Feeling much better today. Yesterday we came here and we just slept. I slept at 8 p.m. I think. Something that I never do. Basically they did a filling for me. It was a small filling that I really needed and they charged me about 23 euros just to do it because I went to a student like university. So yeah, really great. I didn't know about the service here in France and it's really good.
We actually spent a really peaceful night here by the river. Sorry I didn't speak to you yesterday, but as soon as I arrived I just went straight to bed and fell asleep. I was so tired after all that running about. To make things worse, after that long day driving here and there to all these different mechanics and Charlene getting her tooth done as well, we drove a total of about 4-5 hours I think throughout the whole day, and at the end I found this park up in nature. It wasn't this one, it was about 10 minutes away from here, and we ended up going down this like narrow road which I had to kind of just give up halfway there. So we kind of reversed a bit down, turned around and came back down to the main road, and then I found this one which is by a cemetery, but
It's pretty quiet and really, really nice. We actually needed this, to be honest, like a nice calm morning after that hectic day yesterday. Now on the way here, the engine started making that noise again, so unfortunately the problems don't seem to be over. I don't know if it's something that's going to go away on its own or whether there's like an underlying problem. We're going to be heading to Austria now. I think we'll do the drive today or tomorrow, and I guess on the way we'll most likely stop off at another Fiat, but we'll let you know how we get on. I feel like this vlog was all over the place. It was supposed to be a fun and relaxing week in France, but instead it was stress, mechanics and a lot of driving. It's just how it is sometimes, really.